Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to do a reading for you guys. This time I wanted to do a moon day reading. Mystar here to show you how to slowly become a Mystar of your reality or the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, honey? Miss Thing. No, not Miss Thing. We're not about that life. Alright? So, yeah, today I wanted to do a nice little reading for you guys, general reading, so I want to keep in mind, always remember the disclaimer that you should take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Do not make something fit if it doesn't fit. Like a puzzle, right? Your life is like when it comes to the reading that you're receiving, especially general readings, it's like a puzzle, right? Even if you're getting a personal reading, it's like a puzzle. You need to be able to put the right pieces together, and if the pieces don't fit, then the whole puzzle is going to look muddled, right? So, especially as a reader, if you're a reader as well, when you're giving someone else a puzzle piece, if you're unaware as a reader on what kind of puzzle pieces you're actually giving to this person, then you can actually end up with like having a burden or responsibility in a way because you are leading someone astray. It's like the blind leading the blind. So being mindful of that so you don't lead anyone astray when it comes to you actually giving someone guidance during your reading. This is why future readings and stuff can be a little bit tricky. I don't like to do them myself. I like to read the space that you're in and what you are currently manifesting. And if you want to get into a future reading, it's more about what you're manifesting and what kind of mental space you're starting to build for yourself and construct for yourself now, which will eventually turn and manifest and start to grow into a future. But it's not really saying that this will happen or this must happen, because the future and the present is constantly changing, constantly evolving. We're constantly growing and taking ourselves to the next level of whatever that may be. So if you just think that one thing is going to be one way or another, then it gets a little bit tricky there, because now you're locking someone into a timeline that they may not necessarily need to experience, they might not necessarily need to go through, but because they have faith and trust in you, they're able to take that on, and then in a turn, you can actually um, get someone possessed, because now they're possessed with a certain future or a certain concept that you've given them, and now they think things are going to play out one way when they may play out the complete opposite, or they may need to play out the complete opposite. And now, because you've given that to them and they've taken it on, now it's only going to play out in one way. So that's how the possession occurs. It's because you've taken that on as a person, as a concept, and you've not allowed yourself to be open to the possibilities, open to what may possibly come out and come to be. Because really nothing is set in stone fully, unless it's a literal physical stone. But even a stone, arguably, is not set in stone. But that's a whole nother video, because I don't want to go too deep into the whole um, way that things manifest into your reality and so on and so forth. So when it comes to limiting yourself to a certain timeline, a certain way of being, a certain state of being, you know, it's to be mindful that nothing is really going to be set in stone regardless. So just always keep that in mind and be open to the possibilities. It's very, very relevant as well. It's Moon Day or Monday, as you would know. As most people would know, it's Monday. And when it comes to Monday or Moon Day, it is a day where you are more introspective, more the energy that's prominent and is overriding or overruling today, like for lack of better words at this point in time. The overall energy is backed and supported by the moon, and the moon is related to how you react and respond to things and your emotional state of being, as well as what's it called, like who you are on the inside, and also like kind of reflective energies, because the moon is a reflection. If you didn't know that, then now you know, but that's a whole nother video too. Don't want to get too deep into the whole science stuff. but the moon is a reflection. It's not actually a floating ball up there. If you want to know more about that, shout out to Dollar Parliament. He talks all about how the moon and the sun is actually a reflection. Oh, the sun isn't. I'm unsure about the sun in that respect, but the moon is a reflection of our atmosphere, which is the sun and the moon are two different atmospheres that are causing fusion, friction, and pressure, and then that reflects and emanates, and then becomes what you can see as the moon. But yeah, shout out to Dollar Pilot, man, the best and most amazing, greatest scientist on YouTube, greatest YouTuber, greatest rapper, greatest everything. So yeah, let's get straight into it. We're talking about the moon, right? So when it comes to the moon right now as well, we're in Sagittarius moon, or we're just coming into Sagittarius moon. So with Sagittarius moon, we're going to be reacting and responding to some form of expansion, some form of growth, some like Jupiterian energies, learning, growth, expansion, expanding into a new state of being. Or if you're in the lower octave end, you're escaping out of an old state of being, an old world that you've created for yourself. Whenever it's the moon, that's the world that we're in, because you know the world that you're in is based on where you are at internally. If you are in a certain internal space, then this will create your external circumstance. This will bend in for you to be able to see the world in a certain way. This is why no two people will see it the same way or look at things the same way, because you're looking at it from your own world, you know, your own moon. And so right now we're in the world of Sagittarius. We're in the world of expansion, travel, growth, learning, those kind of concepts. So everything is going to be based around that. And I'm pretty sure we might still be in the cusp of Scorpio as well. So being in the cusp of Scorpio will kind of blend those two energies together. So Scorpio is more about transforming your deep passions and desires, or it's fixated water. So it's going to be like fixating on a certain way of feeling and reacting to something. So when it comes to mixing that and blending it with Sagittarius, you can it could be like an energy of transforming or expanding into a new desire or passion, or transforming the way that you expand, or transforming the way that you see the way that you kind of travel or go about the world, or even transforming your experiences. Like it could be a very time during, like especially right now, if we're still in the cusp, could be a time where you're transforming the way you experience things, the way you experience the world around you. And then once we get fully into Sagittarius, then it's less of that transformational energy and more of that expansion kind of energy, which arguably is a form of transformation in itself, which is also part of the reason to why it goes Scorpio then Sagittarius, because you transform. After you've transformed, you've expanded, you know, you've expanded or you've escaped out of something. And so it plays out like a kind of like story in a way. And then once we get out of Sagittarius moon, when we've expanded into a certain space or world that we've created for ourselves, then we'll be into Capricorn moon, where what you've expanded into, the world that you've expanded and grown into, will start to become solidified with the earth element of Capricorn. It'll be solidified for you to be able to be seen, have a status, to be known for something, because now you've expanded into a world. Now others can look at what you've expanded into and be able to see it physically. They'll be able to know it, you know what I mean? And then that can turn into situations of that becoming your career, or the things you're known for, your status, and so on and so forth. So that's how that can play out. And what's it called? Yeah, being mindful right now during this time, especially when we're in Sagittarius or Pisces moon, or even sun, being mindful of the escapist kind of energies. So, you know, if you're feeling like you need to escape from something, being mindful of that. Everything is internal first. So if you feel like you need to escape something externally, then it's a good sign for you to be able to escape something internally. There may be something internally that you might need to deal with in terms of that escapism kind of energy. So you may need to escape a certain aspect of yourself that you're constantly going into. So once you escape that part of yourself, whatever it may be, a certain emotion, a certain thought, a certain action, a certain reaction that you might need to escape out of, a certain pattern of doing things, so on and so forth. So these are definitely things to be mindful of during Sagittarius moon if you want to kind of make and carry out smoother circumstances for yourself. Okay, dokie. So let's get into the reading now that we have broken down the astrology and we know what Sagittarius represents, and now we know what we're about to read, right? So the reading is going to be about the emotions. What are you expanding into? What are you growing into or escaping out of? And whether you're escaping out of anything in general. And as always, like, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. So when it comes to the overall meaning of today is a good day for you to be introspective, for you to look within, like reflect kind of energy. Those are all tied to the moon or Monday kind of energies. Not to say that you have to. Again, astrology is a guideline, so it's not something that you have to do, all right? So if astrology is a guideline, it's talking about how you can adjust things to make things smoother for you, but it's not to say that you should keep yourself trapped and imprisoned in that way of being, because it's just the as above energy. It's the as above stuff. So sorry guys, I just got a text message that threw me off. It's the as above energies. So you have your own as below energies. You have your own chart, right? And then the as above energy, or the current transit that we're going through as a whole body of water that we're existing in, which is called Earth. The current transit that we're going through is what I just said, and then you have your own transits within you. So how you act and how you behave is going to be on a different level, and depending on whether that's opposite or whether that's squaring the sun will also determine your experience too. So if it's opposing, that's going to be a little bit more. You might need to play out a little bit more of your opposite energy as opposed to what you're normally used to doing. And the opposite energy of Sagittarius is Gemini. So you may need to play out more Gemini energies. I actually have Gemini cusp in my sun, but I also have Sagittarius moon. So it's already, I already have my opposite. The two opposites are already in my chart. So for me, especially when it's Gemini sun and Saggy moon, that's just the average for me. So during those times, it's a little bit more smoother because it's more of a natural energy for me. But anyways, let's get straight into the reading. Sorry guys, I got a little bit too deep into the astrology. Might have to save that for another video. So what you're expanding into is the sun, the Leo kind of energy. So when it comes to these two cards that came out, Ace of Swords is a new idea, a new way of thinking and communicating, a new aspect. Like Ace of Swords is always that kind of fresh, new kind of energy. Anytime it's that Ace card. So it's jumping into. Sorry guys, I'm just plugging my charger in. Jumping into that new energy, jumping into that new space, right? And then Leo, the sun. So it's like a form of expression, a new form of expression, a new form of entertaining or having fun. It also is to do with creativity, Leo. So it may be a new form of creativity, a new creative expression, a new way of talking, communicating, interacting, and thinking about your creativity, right? So you may be like jumping into a more space where you're able to be more free and you're able to express and go about your creativity in a more air-like way, where you're able to be a little bit more um, expressive about it. You're able to go put yourself out on the forefront. Okay, so and this could play out negatively or positively depending on higher octave or lower octave. So you may be expressing some kind of energy that you might not want to express, putting some kind of energy that you may not want to put on the forefront. But when it comes to the higher octave, you're expressing or bringing some kind of energy that's like kind of entertains you or brings some form of fun or creativity to your life. All right. So this is you may be expanding into a new network. You may be talking to people or communicating with new people that are allowing you to express and talk about your creative gifts and talents more, or just like talking to people that are more putting you in the forefront and putting you in the center stage. So they may want to see what you have to offer. They may want to see what you have, going on in your life in terms of your creative gifts and talents, or the things that you entertain or are entertained by. And then I'm going to pull some Moonology as well. It's Moon Day, mate. Moon Day. Hold on. Let me re-pull those because I was a little bit blasé. Oh my gosh, what the fuck? Full moon in Leo. So again, that's the Leo energy coming up again. So creative expression, self-expression, putting your expression on the forefront and stuff like that. And then we have also full moon in Aries as well. And emotions are running high. So you've got this energy of expressing yourself and if you're on the lower octave end, this may be like a prideful kind of energy, or you may be expanding into ego. So you may be expressing a form of ego as well that you may need to like kind of tone it down a couple notches, Hans. You know what I mean? So if you tone down your ego a couple notches and you like kind of look at things from a more balanced and fair perspective using the Libra sun that we're in right now, then you'll be able to see things from, a more equilibrium state, rather than getting lost into a lie, into a Leo, into a lie, and getting lost into that ego, which is leading you to kind of carry out circumstances in a less favorable way, And then if you're on the higher octave end, you may just be going more hard for your creativity, pushing for your creativity, or bringing your creativity to the forefront in a way where you are able to see the fruits of your labor a little bit better. You may have been putting your creativity on the back burner, and now you're jumping into this energy where you've got this Aries and Leo kind of energy. You've got that fire, that passion to hold on to your vision, to stick to what you actually have in your mind, in the vision, which is the fifth house, Leo, creativity, and you're able to maintain that energy and keep it flowing, right? And this is also like backed and supported by this card, which is the emotions are running high, right? So your emotions, the way you feel, is at a heightened state where you're able to really feel inspired, really feel passionate to go for your creative gifts and talents, really feel passionate to carry out that fire and actually go for what you want. You know what I mean? So those are the kind of emotions that you may have if you're on the higher octave. But if you're on the lower octave end, that's backing and supporting that prideful or that egotistical energy, right? Or like just like having a big head lock. So if you have like that big head going on, all your emotions, the way you feel, is going to be at a heightened state where it's going to enhance this feeling of having a big head. You may not see because you are blinded by your emotions if you're on the lower octave end, where your emotions are telling you that it's okay to be this egotistical, it's alright to be this angry with the Aries energy if you're on the lower octave end. It's alright to have this anger or passion to kind of make yourself like more important or more in that pride energy than you really need to be. So your emotions are kind of maybe blinding you if you're on the lower octave end to think that this prideful energy is okay, right? So that's for our lower octave people or people who are struggling with their, animalistic energies. Because I don't want to rule anyone out during this reading. Always want to keep a balanced state and know that, also I don't really have much of an audience at the moment. So, those who are in my audience, I'm a little bit unsure about what kind of space you guys might be in too. Obviously, I can kind of tell based on the readings. Like, I can tell based on the certain readings as well, like what kind of people might be watching me, especially depending on the app. Like, I notice on TikTok, there's a certain energy and a space that people are in. And, it's kind of a given as well, because if you're on TikTok, there is a certain space that you have to be in order to be even wanting to scroll on the app, or doom scrolling, they call it, you know. Which, no judgment, we're all at our own level, we're all at our own space, but the people on YouTube, they also have a certain element or certain energy behind it too. And same with people on Instagram, there's also a certain space that people on Instagram are on. I notice people on Instagram are a little bit more closer to the space of the people who are watching me on YouTube. But that's besides the point. We're getting into the reading, we're not talking about who's my audience. But yeah, the point of why I was even saying that in the first place, get this logo out of here. I don't want to show y'all logos. So yeah, the point of why I was even saying that in the first place is because, everyone's at their own in their own space, and I don't want to assume that everyone's just in that higher octave space. I want to also provide guidance and wisdom to those who may be in the lower octave space but are still watching me. Because it's not about, convincing as well. It's really just about, if you are at that space and you're coming to my videos in the first place, obviously you're in a space where you want to take yourself out of that. And if I was to, block you from that by just focusing on the high octave, then what kind of guide or what kind of reader would I be? Is my kind of mindset that I'd be thinking about. So yeah. What you guys can do to help yourself during this time is the Two of Swords here. The Two of Swords is about decisiveness, making a decision, having a more clear direction, right? Kind of precision kind of energy. The Swords energy, we've got all the One and the Two of Swords. So the Swords energy is about like having that plan, having that direction, having that masculine energy to be able to direct yourself to a certain space, to a certain area, right? So when it comes to the Two of Swords, it's about having more decisiveness in what you actually want and how you actually want to carry out your day and the things you want to say, So all of that will play a part with the Two of Swords kind of energy. All of that will help you to bring about a more clear direction for yourself, as long as you stay more decisive. Jump into that Swords energy, be more logical, left brain, which is to do with the Swords and the air energy. Being more logical and left brain will help you to, tap out of that emotional space. So this is also an indication as well, with this emotions are running high. It's about don't let your emotions lead you astray as well, because your emotions can lead you to causing or making certain decisions that may not align with what you actually want. When you take that left brain perspective, that logical side, you're able to see things more clearly because you're separating from that heavy emotion, that heavy space, because an emotion is like a womb. A sword is like a tool. It's not so much like a womb. A womb is a container, right? So if you are, sorry guys, far out. The cards be dropping. If you are in a womb, right, if you're in an emotion, then you're only able to see what's within that emotion because you're looking from the inside out, and all you can see around you is that emotion, that feeling, that space that you're in. But if you're in like the thought, or you're using your thought, because you can't be in a thought. I mean, you can be in a thought, sorry, but you can't be in a sword, right? When it comes to the Two of Swords, you can't be within a sword. You hold a sword, you wield it, yourself. So if you're wielding a sword, you're still able to see what's going on around you. And you can actually use that sword to cut through certain things that may be blocking you. You know what I mean? So that's why logic is good for you to separate from this emotional space so you don't get blinded by your emotions and the way you feel. And then you'll be able to make more clear-cut decisions, which is why it's also represented by the sword, because you're cutting through, you're cutting out of a space that may be blinding you or maybe holding you into something. And then you're able to free yourself and separate, which is why as well those words have those certain letters and consonants too. Sword, separate, space, So once you separate from that space, then you're able to see things in a clear space, in a clear direction. And then you're in a better space where you're able to, so on and so forth. With the Hierophant here as well, this is about that practical, so it's more left brain kind of energy. Hierophant is related to the Taurus card, so it's stability, security, consistency, staying consistent with whatever decision you've just made. So when you make that decision, stay consistent, hold your vision. There's a lot of fixed energy going on here as well. Hold on to that thing that you value and love and appreciate. Keep it going, for you to be able to hold on to that thing that you love, value, and appreciate. You'll be able to maintain that direction and manifest and see the fruits of your labor, because sometimes you may just get discouraged if you get lost into your desires and your emotions, thinking that you want it now. But if you stay consistent, stay practical and logical, and remember that as long as you keep consistent about whatever goal or whatever thing you want to achieve, then you'll be able to see the fruits of your labor. It may take a while, it may not happen overnight. Some people may happen overnight, right? That depends on the individual and your life. But, as long as you stay consistent and keep that consistent Taurus kind of energy, and remember to, remain true to your traditions and your values and the things that you want to see in your life, right? With that Leo and Taurus energy, staying fixated on your vision so that you can actually see it through, because you're not actually going to see your vision manifest into reality and become true with the Taurus energy unless you actually do, you know what I mean? Unless you actually keep at it. So that's definitely good for you guys to help you guys get out of or get into the space that you want to get into. So this is how you guys can help yourselves during this time, using that Taurus energy and that Two of Swords energy, a lot of second house energy. So what you love, value, and appreciate, your gifts and talents will help you during this time too, because we're picking up on a lot of two energies. So your gifts, creative gifts and talents, or it may not be a creative gift and talent. You may just be very gifted at something that has nothing to do with creativity. If you're a charismatic kind of person, or if you're a very good talker, you're a very good speaker. These are things that can help you during this time. And it's not to say as well, I was getting too lost into my words during that time, and I wasn't focusing on the card. Sorry, guys. I like to, if you watch my videos, I always like to direct my attention to the cards while I'm shuffling, so that whatever card comes out is more direct. It has that energy of directness backed and supported by it, as opposed to if I'm not directing my attention and my awareness to it, then it'll have, lack of awareness, lack of direction when I pull that card. So we don't want to give that. We want to give direction. We want to give certainty, sureness, this card peeked out, so I wanted to pull it out just so we could keep a look at it. And look here, again, synchronicities, man. I love when my readings have this. So the Taurus card, as you can see, it has the synchronicity, and it came out both in this part and in the Moonology deck. So Taurus is like peeking through to say, you know, remember to be practical, make sense of your dreams, you know, and don't be too practical to the point where you're killing your dreams as well, because too much rigidity, too much stability can also kill your dreams too. But, you know, right now we're on Moon Day, so you may be being more emotional than practical. You may be thinking about things more in feelings based rather than practical based. So having that practicality, remembering to, you know, plan out and be strategic about what you do. Don't just like, you know, do anything willy-nilly. Have some consistency, have some stability behind it, have a little bit of practicality and planning behind it, and then you'll be able to see, okay, you'll be able to see things play out more in that energy. Like I was just saying, you know, you'll be able to see things play out more in that space where you'll see that fruits of your labor and your reality. So when you're able to practically make sense out of things and stay consistent, then you will get practical and consistent results, right? If you stay inconsistent and you stay, you know, and you don't make practical sense out of things a little bit, then you won't get practical or consistent results, you know? It's just everything's bending in from the mental to the physical. And you can see this from my readings too, you know, just then. As I pulled that card, the Taurus card came out, and that's due to the fact of what I was just saying when I was saying how I like to have direction and certainty and pay my awareness to the cards that I'm pulling. So when I do that, then we get a more clear, we get a more concise message, we get a more direct energy coming out from the cards, as opposed to if you kind of leave it up to the space that you're already in, as opposed to putting yourself into that space, then you're kind of you're being open, a little bit too open. And you know, I'm not saying that it's not good to be open, but there's a certain time and a space for everything, right? So if you want clear answers from your cards, you want clear results from your reality, you need to have clear energy going into it. You know, have a clear mental space, clear direction, certainty of mind. So these are all kind of good energies that you can utilize to actually manifest better. Miss Thing. Really, I'm like really happy with the reading today. Damn. So what do you need to release? This is another thing that you may need to focus on during this time. What might you need to release during this full moon? During this moon, not full moon. It's not a full moon. What do you need to release during this moon? What emotions might you need to let go of that may be holding you back and stopping you from achieving this certainty and this consistent energy? You may have certain doubts. You may have certain worries about how things may play out. You might need to release and let go of these worries in order for you to actually have more clear direction. You know, let go of this space of uncertainty and just jump into a space of certainty. Even if, you know, you may think, oh, I'm not certain about anything in order for me to even jump into that space. That's not the point. It's about creating certainty. It's about creating sureness. It's about creating direction, because you're the creator. You don't sit and wait around for thoughts and feelings to come into your space for you to create based on that. You're the one who pushes it out, externalize it, and then whatever comes back will be based on whatever you just pushed out, you know? And then the end of a tough cycle approaches. This is Capricorn energy. So you may need to use some form of Capricorn energy when it comes to this as well. These two cards kind of go hand in hand, because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, which can talk about separating from cycles, separating from, like it says in the card, the end of a tough cycle approaches, you know? So separating from a constant cycle of feeling these emotions that are running high, or separating from you know, that ego, if you're on the lower octave end, that prideful energy, or even as well, like keeping mindful too, like you may be just entertaining or jumping into things that are too entertaining, but you know, you may need to jump into more of a space of being a little bit more serious, you know, being a little bit more like a boss, standing on business and being sure about what you want so that you can actually carry that out. You know, take your dreams a little bit more seriously, take your visions and your gifts and talents a little bit more seriously, and you might be able to see serious results from those things. So everything ties in. So, you know, this is a live demonstration, guys. Very, very powerful shit right here. And that ain't even ego. That ain't even pride. That's true. If you're watching this video and you see up to this point, you already know this is a powerful reading. Just based on how many synchronicities, how much of it's actually tying in, how much of it's actually pulling in from the mental to the physical. You can see the work that I put in. And, you know, a lot of the time I don't even focus on reading so much. I focus on all aspects. I'm very, very diverse when it comes to the things that I focus on. I like to see life from many different angles, many different aspects. And that's, you know, you're seeing the fruits of my labor here. But I also still practice on reading too. But, you know, it's not the end all be all for me. I like to focus on many different things. I like got many different avenues that I love. I love, you know, music, art, so on and so forth. But enough about me, enough about me. Okay, so let's pull. I was a little bit undirect there. So yeah, big on direction as well for you guys. Like as you can see, there's like that theme keeps coming up during this reading too. So it's about having that direction, having that certainty, and pushing for it, you know, and wanting to see it carry out in reality. Not pushing to the point where you're pushing it away from you, because that leads you into a state of, you know, if you're pushing too hard, you're like, oh, I want this to happen now. And then you're putting yourself into a state of desire, which will just bear more fruits of desire, bear more realities that you will see of you being in states of desire. And we don't want that. We want you to have what you desire. You know, if you desire something, that already implies that you don't have that thing, right? Any messages or guidance for what energies you may need to pay attention to during this time to benefit you more? Damn, guys. Got a lot of cards came out. We'll just pull the top one and then we'll shuffle again. See if there's any more cards that come out. So the top one says step out of your comfort zone. So yeah, stepping out of your comfort zone. You may be comfortable too comfortable during this time, comfortable with the space that you've already been in and the things that you've already manifested and created for yourself. Stepping out of your comfort zone is imploring and implying that you know, you should try something new, try something different to what you're used to. And this will help you to actually see things from a different perspective as opposed to the same boring old shit that you just used to, right? Stepping out of your comfort zone also has to do with, you know, sometimes it's, you know, anxiety circumstance. Sometimes it's like circumstances that make you feel uneasy or unsure about where things may go, you know. But as long as you step out of your comfort zone, you'll see where it will go. As opposed to if you just stay in your comfort zone, you'll just see your worries. You'll just see what you can only see within your mental, you know. But stepping out, you'll be able to see the possibilities. You'll be able to free yourself from that limitation that you've trapped yourself in your mind and your mentality. And then you'll be able to actually manifest and create more. You know, how do you expect to create something new if you're staying in the old? How do you expect to bring something new into your life if you're just stuck into your comfort zone and the old version of yourself, or the old things that you like to do, the old routines and patterns that you want to see, you know? And then we have a time for healing, balsamic moon. When it comes to the balsamic moon, it's talking about obviously letting go and releasing. So these are the kind of things that you should pay attention to in order for you to benefit yourself, like carrying out the next steps and whatever you're trying to create for yourself, whether you're separating from this ego energy, separating from the space of constantly being lost into entertainment and lights, or whether you're just jumping into that creative space and, bringing more of your gifts and talents into the world, going for your gifts and talents and so on and so forth. So time for healing is telling you, heal and let go of these things that are keeping you in your comfort zone. You may have certain fears, certain worries about what may happen. Healing and letting go of those and realizing that you won't know until you do it. And also, the more you think and feel about it, you're just putting yourself through that circumstance twice. As opposed to if you just do it, you may suffer what you've been worrying about, right? But even if you worry about it, you're still going to suffer. So it's about, choosing, pick your poison kind of energy, pick your poison. Do you want to sit there and suffer in your mind? Or would you rather go out and experience life and suffer and then learn from that, because the worst thing that could happen is that you don't succeed, and then you learn how to succeed from the lack of succeeding energy. Other than that, everyone makes mistakes at some point in their life, but it's what you do with the mistakes that matters. So if you just sitting around worrying about, oh, well, if I do this, then people might see me in this way. If I do this, it might not go right. But as long as you do it in general, you won't, as long as you don't do it in general, you won't know. You'll just be stuck in that limbo state of what if. And I don't fuck with what if. That's like lame, for me at least, up to you as an individual whether or not you want to stay in that what if space, but I don't like to stay in what ifs. I used to, and I will say this as well, giving everyone grace. I was in that space at a point in my life for quite a while. So I'm not sitting here throwing stones and casting stones at you saying that I'm better than you or that I'm up on this high horse, right? The reason I don't even like what ifs is because I've been through what if and I've lived in what if, So now I know that this is not something that I want. And this is important too, If you don't go through experiences that you don't want, then you won't know that you don't want them, So as long as you go through an experience, then you know whether or not you like or dislike that experience, whether or not you want to do that experience again, or you want to stop that experience and separate from it, right? So everything is a learning and a growing experience. And if you don't allow yourself to learn and grow, if you don't give yourself that time to experience it and go out into the world, then you're just going to be stuck in that what if space, which arguably, that's an experience in itself. So this is a learning experience for you. If you are in that what if space, you may need to go through that a few more times, a few more years, a few more months, however long it may take for you to realize, okay, no, I don't like this what if space. I don't like being here. I want to go out and expand and grow. Sagittarius energy. So let's look at the bottom of the deck again. Back to that Capricorn energy, the end of a tough cycle approaches. So you guys are definitely on the right track. Don't worry too much. As long as you go with this energy and this mental space that you're already in, creating this ending of the tough cycle, creating a new cycle for yourself, creating a new status and Capricorn energy for yourself so that you can, jump into that new space. So as long as you stay patient with the Temperance card as well on this bottom of this deck, patient and stick to what you want to do and the things that you know are actually benefiting you and helping you to grow and expand, then you'll be able to see the fruits of your labor. Like again, the Nine of Pentacles, freaking powerful shit right here. You'll be able to see the fruits of your labor, the Nine of Pentacles, that satisfaction energy right here. This person's playing the piano. Piano is something that, if you've played piano before or you've listened to someone play piano, it's a very soothing, it's a very beautiful experience, And this person here is like coveting or appreciating this ball that they have. the ball represents like a chakra energy. So a chakra represents like a certain wheel, a certain will that you're turning into. So as long as you keep that as a will and not a desire, remain patient, right? Then you'll be able to experience that piano, experience that beautiful music in your mind or in the external, which will help you to feel more appreciative and grateful for your experiences. And you'll be able to achieve more, grow and expand and jump into that new 9 space, expand into a new space, which is more satisfactory for you. And satisfaction may not last. You may need to jump into the next form of satisfaction, but for you to be able to experience that in the first place, that shows that you're manifesting a better space for yourself, and you'll be able to jump to new levels of satisfaction, new levels of love, new levels of gratitude, new levels of appreciation. And it may come in the form of money with the 9 of Pentacles. Some people will say it may come in the form of material gain, but it doesn't always have to be that. And as long as you stay patient, don't get lost into expectation, because expectation is the killer of joy, loves, then you'll be able to see more of this. You'll be able to see more of this grateful energy, this appreciative energy, this beneficial piano vibe. You'll be able to sit in that theater, sit in that space where you're able to listen to that beautiful piano playing, and you're able to enjoy that moment of peace, or that minute, or that hour, or that day, or that week of peace, whatever it may be for you. But the more you start to carry out what you want to do, that ties into this energy that we've just talked about during this reading, the more that you'll be able to experience greater levels of this, greater levels of expansion, greater levels of expanding into circumstances that you want to see in your life. And a beautiful life is awaiting, as long as you stay true to your vision. All right, boo? So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the reading. I think this is a beautiful, amazing space to leave the reading in. We're at 47 minutes. That's went a lot longer than I thought it would. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy your time, day, moment, wherever you are. All right, and Mystar is out, and I'll see you guys next time. Laters.